I don't want us to forget. It is so easy. When I Googled pictures of Memorial Day, guess what shows up first? Picnics. Isn't that how we associate it? And when many of us were not working at home, but we were working at offices, or where we were like, yay, a 3-day weekend, right? And for you who are working from home, I think you get to shut your technology off tomorrow. You don't have to be on your computers for work tomorrow, hopefully. But I don't want us to forget. All gave some gave all. Remember them this Memorial Day. So I know, years ago, I think I brought this up, and I like to every now and then, do you know where Memorial Day came from? It literally, original term was called Decoration Day. Not to be confused with Declaration Day, which is the 4th of July, right? That's the Declaration of Independence. Memorial Day originally was called Decoration Day. And it comes back at the end of the Civil War. And there's 2 different versions. There's actually 3 different versions of how this came about. I'll share with you 2. One was in Charleston, South Carolina, that there was 257 prisoners of war in Charleston, and they all died. And so they just did a mass burial, no grave markers at all. And the Black community in Charleston went out and decorated the entire area where they knew they had buried all these bodies and just filled it with flowers to honor and memorialize their lives from the war. The second story, the second one who claims that they started it, was basically an area where it was their line between the North and the South. And there were women who had decided that there were no flowers or markers on these. There were markers, but there were no flowers on these graves. So women from the North and the South crossed over the lines and decorated the graves of the Civil War heroes on both sides. No one was, they didn't have preferential treatment to just their soldiers. It became all of their children. So I say that to you because I think about, that was in the Civil War days. I think it's the nature of man. When I say man, I mean man and woman. I think it's the nature of humankind to see the oneness. But there is such a strong pull from the ego to keep wanting us to separate and see it as us and them. Because you hear stories like this from eons ago of taking down the lines of separation of the North and the South, in this case, taking those lines down and caring about our fellow human being. Those women cared about the other woman's son. They didn't ask whose army was he fighting for. They just had compassion, knowing that each mother there had lost their son. So I got to thinking about, I titled the talk today, What is the Unity Way? And I want to share with you what made me choose that title. Because probably since I've been the minister at Garden Park, and that's been 10 and a half years ago, I have often heard, and literally just lately heard as well, people will every now and then come out with this statement, Well, that's not the unity way. I'm thinking, what is the unity way? I didn't know there was a unity way. So I kind of did some research on that because, I've been around unity for almost 30 years, been in constant study of unity for at least 27 years, and I've yet to find anything that says the unity way. Now, that's good news, people. That is really good news, especially for you who are independent thinkers, because that's what draws you to unity. Unity is about independent thinkers. So there's no doctrine or creed around unity. So I think I shared with you last week. I think I talked to you about, on my Facebook post, someone had posted some negative comments because they knew Brene Brown, being in Texas, was a meat eater and had comments about that. And I remember thinking to myself, unity does not take a stand on being vegetarian, vegan. They say what works for you. Now, do we encourage that? I would say we encourage and honor all life, but they don't say this is the unity way. And if you are not doing that, you should not be in unity. See, this is what I think I want to make this point. There's several things I want to make a point about today. But now, as hard as that may seem to accept, because I think about, what is it that Napoleon Hill said? I think 85% of the people in the world need and want to be led. There's only 10 to 15% of the people that are truly independent thinkers. Welcome to the 15% here, people, of independent thinkers. But so with being in unity and studying unity and loving that it's not in replace of anyone's religion or spiritual path, it is in addition to it, allows the freedom. Unity allows the freedom for you to be where you are at whatever level of that spiritual journey you are at. And we don't make a judgment. So here's what I think I want to do to simplify it. So if someone were to say to me, that's not the unity way, does that feel like acceptance or judgment? Judgment, doesn't it? That's not unity. I can tell you what unity is not. Unity is not about judgment. Unity is about honoring where each person is on their path in life, as long as that path is treating people good and kind and decent and with compassion. That's all it is, people, basically. There's many, many unity books, many, many perspectives, and all those unity books are going to be on positivity, positive way to live Christianity, positive way to live Buddhist. It supports all world religions. Charles Fillmore was an avid study of world religions. He never came out and said, unity is the way. The word is what he encompassed. Unity. Unity. All of us are in this together. I looked up the word church. I actually found this little pamphlet I'm going to find out if it is still in print or not. See if you can read it there. It's written by James Dillard Freeman. So I don't know if it's in print anymore, but oh my gosh, what's in here ought to be in print. But I looked up the word church in the Greek or origination. The word church is kyriakon. And that word means the seat of the Lord's power. In the New Testament, the word church is rooted in ecclesia, which means the called out ones. The called out ones. Welcome to the church. You are the church. It is not a building. Let me give you a story here about what I would say is an example of church. Some people understand life better, and they call some of these people, so I want to make sure you heard that. Some people understand life better, and they call some of these people special needs. At the Seattle Special Olympics, 9 contestants, all physically or mentally disabled, assembled at the starting line for the 100-yard dash. At the gun, they all started out not exactly in a dash, but in a relish to run the race to the finish and win. All that is, except for one little boy who stumbled on the asphalt, tumbled over a couple of times, and he began to cry. The other 8 heard the boy crying. They slowed down, looked back, and then they all turned and went back, every one of them. One girl with Down syndrome bent down and kissed him and said, "Here, this'll make you better." Then all 9 linked arms and walked together to the finish line. Everyone in the stadium stood, and the cheering went on for several minutes. People who were there still feel this story. Why? Because deep down, we know this one thing. What matters in this life is more than winning for ourselves. What matters in this life is helping others to win, even if it means slowing down and changing our course. That's a church. That is a church mentality. You know, in this pamphlet, it says that, and let me pull it up here in a second. It said in the first days of Christianity, church could not possibly have referred to a place because there were no places in which Christians were established. The Christian church consisted simply of a group of dedicated people who wandered about teaching the truth that as they found it. Welcome to the church again. Welcome to the church. All of you and me who are wondering about setting an example of the truth that we know to be our truth. It isn't about a building, is it? Now, we love our building, and because why? Because it enables us to come together in community. Okay? So you're coming on Sunday when we open those doors. We're coming for what? What is it that we're all craving here, people in this audience? I want to see you. I want to touch you. Well, when we first come back, we're not going to be allowed to touch, are we? That's going to be the hardest thing. You're going to have an awakening. You're going to have an awakening moment, because I have it every time I step foot in the building. I have this awakening of, oh, there's nobody in here. And we'll have this awakening moment of, oh, it's got to be different for a while. But we so want to see each other in the flesh, don't we? And we so want to be able to speak to each other without having Tom mute us on a microphone, right? Which is his job on Zoom. But can you hardly wait till we can just come together in the parking lot, on the grounds, in the sanctuary? Limitations. We're craving the community. The church has not changed, people. The church has not changed. We are alive and well as ever before. Oh my gosh, I think that reminds me of Billy Graham's quote. I've shared this with you before. Billy Graham says, he said this well before he ever transitioned. He said, someday you will hear that Billy Graham, don't believe a word of it. I will have only changed my address. On to the spirit of the kingdom of heaven. Well, people, I'm going to tell you all we've done is change our address to Zoom and Facebook Live. Our community is still here. We're just in different form. I'm going to read, there was another part in here. I wanted you to hear about unity. Unity is the church spiritual, the church of the growing, seeking, unfolding individual. You want me to repeat that? Because this is you. Unity is the church spiritual, the church of the growing, seeking, unfolding individual. This is why we're here together every Sunday, because we all are into committing to our spiritual growth, the opening our soul bigger and bigger and bigger, the expanding soul. How do you feel when you think about that? And every Sunday we come together to expand our consciousness, which expands our soul. And then, then Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, here comes the world outside. And the soul says, oh, I don't know, it's not safe. And then you listen to some Unity FM, or you go to YouTube and listen to the talk again or meditation. Ooh, your soul expands again. That's what this is about. So I'm going to further read this paragraph. Unity was not founded to separate people into another body bound by religious ways or laws or doctrines or practices or rituals. Unity was founded on the idea that God is within you, and therefore your purpose in life is to express your divine potential. Your purpose in life is to express your divine potential. Everything Unity does as a church is done to help you achieve this purpose. It accepts you where you are and for what you are, and it helps you to be the child of God you were born to be. In John 14, it gets misdirected a lot, but in there it says, in my Father's house, there are what? One mansion? Many mansions. In other words, there's room for all of us. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. There's room for everyone. Everyone. I want to read something, and I don't know if we've got this on Facebook yet or not, but if not, we will. This was sent to me by Herling Yance. This would be the twins and Riley's mom. And let me see, where did it go? Here it is. Okay, this is from Bishop-elect of the Episcopal Church in the Diocese of Missouri. His name is Dion Johnson. He says, the work of the church is essential. I have a feeling, I'm not positive of this, but I think it was written in response to churches being designated as essential. Okay. So he says the work of the church is essential. The work for caring for the lonely, the marginalized, and the oppressed is essential. The work of speaking truth to power and seeking justice is essential. The work of being a loving, liberating, and life-giving presence in the world is essential. The work of welcoming the stranger, the refugee, and the undocumented is essential. The work of reconciliation, that's forgiveness, and healing and caring is essential. The church does not need to open because the church never closed. We who make up the body of the church, the body of Christ, love God, we love our neighbors and ourselves so much that we will stay away from our buildings until it is safe. We are the church. We are the church. We will enter our building when we feel it's safe, and you as an individual, because this is the way unity is, you come when you feel it's safe. So even when we do decide to open, it does not mean that you decide to come. There will be this venue for you until you feel it's safe for yourself.
Kathy?
I'm somebody. Hi, Neil. Hang on. Tom's going to mute you, Neil.
Okay.
So there we go. You are the church. What is it? Inside is all the people. Remember that in the church? Here's the steeple. Inside's all the people. That's who we are. And that's my message today. There is no unity way other than we're all in this together. We honor where each person is. We honor how you feel moving through this pandemic. And as we start to open things up, wherever you are, what I loved is I was looking up the restaurant requirements for workers in the restaurant. And I loved it because the Board of Health has not required restaurant workers to wear masks. It's not required, it's suggested. And I was shocked, right? But then came the statement, if you don't feel comfortable in a restaurant where they are not wearing masks, don't eat there. It's as simple as that. So unity says the same thing. Follow your guidance. Follow your guidance. And we're in this together. And with that, I say namaste. That the Christ presence in me truly sees and honors that Christ presence in each and every one of you. Namaste.